Okay, so here we have two naked V-twin motorcycles, which I don't really see a lot of reviews comparing the two. So being an owner of the Sv650 and the Street Rod, I thought I'd put together a little video today just to explain some of the key differences and my advice on which one would be the better of the two to buy. So here we have the third generation Suzuki Sv650, powered by a 645cc V-twin, producing 75 horsepower and 64 Newton meters of torque. It produces this at 8,100 revs. Everyone knows about the Sv650. Somebody said to me it is the Mazda MX-5, the Miata of the motorcycling world. If you want a nice bike that's cheap to run, go for an Sv650. If you want a bike that can do everything, as cheap as chips on the second-hand market, not necessarily the third generation, but go for an Sv650. And if you want a reliable bike, go for an Sv650. So why did I buy a Street Rod 750? Well, it's not a replacement. This was in addition to it. Those that have been following my YouTube channel for a while will know that I do like my bikes and I do tend to change them, always keeping the SV in the background. The Street Rod 750 is an evolution of the original Street model, which everybody seems to get confused at. The original Harley-Davidson Street was offered in the 750 and the 500cc variant. We released in the 750 in the UK, but I know in Australia and America they use the 500 as a sort of beginner bike, as you want to call it, a learner bike maybe. So the difference with this is a 745cc and it produces 69 horsepower, so a little bit down on the SV's 75. But the torque is exactly the same. So 64 Newton meters. However, it produces it at 4,100 rev. So 4,100 versus 8,100. So you can see the power band is completely different. What's also quite different is the weight. Now the Street Rod 750, you can't get away from it. It is quite a heavy bike for what it is. I believe it's about 30 kilograms heavier than the SV. The SV is quicker, better on fuel, lighter, more nimble, but this is a Harley-Davidson. But not a Harley-Davidson as we know it. So the Street Rod 750, as I mentioned earlier, took the Street Rod, the original Street, and made it better in every single way. You've got twin front discs, upside down forks, which the Street, the original model, didn't have. And then you've also got the high output 750 Revolution X motor on this, again giving you more higher power, better performance. I think it's got high lift cams and so on, which actually make a big difference. The big difference, well, I do want to mention versus a traditional Harley, is it doesn't have that normal V-twin. It's at a slightly different angle, therefore it doesn't have that potato noise. It actually sounds completely different. And to be honest, with the original exhaust, it sounds absolute crap. So this one has the Vance & Hines competition series, which makes a massive difference. And again, I'll do a little soundbite comparison with them as well. And in keeping with all my motorcycles, I've modified the rear end, giving it a tail tidy. Now the reason that the number plate has to sit like that is because if it sits down, it hits off the wheel. So everybody always asks me that. And no, I never get stopped. So comparing the two of them side by side, as you can see, the Street Rod 750 is longer, is a little bit low down. You see a lot of reviews on this of this weird seating position. I suppose it is a bit weird because in effect you sit like that with your legs up and then your knees are actually right up at the tank. So I'm 6 foot, everybody says taller riders, you know, it doesn't suit them. It suits me just perfect. I think the Sv650 from the factory is probably the most comfortable bike between the two of them. But with a few subtle modifications, if you want, you can change the position of the pegs. For example, they're sort of forward mounted mid, but I have seen people move them towards the front and towards the rear as well. So very different motorcycles indeed. The Street Rod 750 was designed for, as the name suggests, the street environment. And living in Edinburgh is fantastic. It goes through all these little nooks and crannies in the roads. The only thing that prevents you getting decent filtering is the wide bars, but to be honest, I've never really had any issue with them at all. It is probably more back to basics motorcycling than even the SV650, which I believe is probably one of the best that you can get without all these electronic aids. It does have ABS, but other than that, that's it. So if it goes wrong, it's easy to fix. Yes, it's a Harley, it will go wrong probably, and that's where the reliability of the SV comes in. But it's nice knowing that you can just actually look on YouTube, get a decent workshop manual, and any issues, you can do it. They primarily see this bike in the Indian market. I know that it has been discontinued, but looking at the reviews, all the modifications and so on, I mean, the tail tidy, for example, I got from a company in India. I think it was about 60 quid, dirt cheap, versus the 250 that they were charging for similar products in America. And that's the great thing, you know, in India, they can pretty much fix anything very cheaply. And this is how this motorcycle was designed. It is a premium product. The fit and the finish is very good. The way that the paint goes together. I mean, yes, you do have sort of weld marks there, as you can probably see. Just ignore the seagull there. But when you look at it, the paint is definitely up to the standard of the Japanese equivalent, if not better. One thing I will say about the street rod is I believe it does corrode much more than the SV. Yeah, it's metal and plastic. The metal should be treated as an anti-corrosion. But what I've already had to do when I bought the bike, and again, it's only 3 years old, or just over 3 and a bit years old. Just under 3 years old. No, just over 3 years old. Just ignore me. God, where has time gone? The pandemic obviously has changed everything. I had to change the rear shocks because at the bottom these actually corroded, and yeah, not so good. I think it had a cover on it with the previous owner, and obviously that trapped moisture in there. The SV, however, sits under a cover all the time. Yeah, I'm one of these sad people that do wash the bike before and after each ride, but I do look after it. I do think, you know, if you left that out over winter, and you left that out over winter, you'd come back and this would be full of rust. So what they like to ride, well, this is lovely. You sit down, you sit low, as I say, weird seating position, but within 10 minutes you do get used to it. It's a Harley with that exhaust. You do get noticed. You know, it's great handling. Got a fantastic lee angle, one of the best lee angles of the Harley-Davidson lineup. It's almost as if Harley took the blueprint of the SV650 and what makes everything good and didn't improve on it, but made it a little less good, and then put the Harley name on it. And you know what, that sounds normally like a bad thing, but it's worked out really good indeed. It's got a lovely comfortable seat, definitely not made for pillions, of course, with that tiny little pad, but just have a little look at this, nice and wide. And at the end of the day, you're riding a Harley, and a quick one at that. So this is just a quick comparison. I know I've been going on a little bit, but hopefully this should help you decide if you're considering. If you want something that looks good, you're maybe a bit of a, I don't know, what do you call them, a hipster? With a beard, and, you know, you want to wear leather boots. Yep, that's the Harley for you. However, if you're a little bit more of a street biker, you know, you want to wear motorsport inspired motorcycle boots, then that's where the SV comes in. Which one would I sell first? Well, it would be the Harley. The SV is my favourite bike, and it really tugs on my heartstrings. But the Harley would be a good replacement if I was considering it. So here we go, let's get this started up. And they've both got aftermarket exhausts. So here we go. Typical me, didn't put it in neutral.